And here comes round one of Lone Star Drift 2022, our last event ever at Gulf Greyhound Park. Hope to see you there. And thank you to all the sponsors such as BC Racing Coilovers, What Monsters Do, NK Wheels, Valino Tires, ECU Master, and KBD Body Kits. Let's get this going. Boom!
Hello, Lone Star Drift audience. Today, I want to show you the oldest...
Not person.
The oldest car in Lone Star Drift. I think this is the oldest Texas drifting car that's still going. I still had, I gave away my S13 to Mark. Yeah. But my S13 is back from 2004 time period I got it. And this car, when did you get this?
I got this in 09.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do a quick synopsis of this car real quickly from my perspective. He brought it out. It was SR20. He was a scrub. Yep. He was super annoying at the events. And then after a period of time, he chilled out and became a fantastic driver. Probably one of the best, if not the best drifter in Texas. Depends if you count me. No, I'm joking. And the car has developed stage after stage after stage. This car was in hyperdrive. It's done Pro-Am for a decade at this point. He has I don't know what to say. I'm going to let him do it all. So I'm going to hide from the wind real quick. Let's get over here. You tell me like a couple minutes about the car, and then let's show it to me.
I mean, it is the original car that I've had. I've never crashed it bad enough to, get rid of it. And thankfully it's not caught on fire. Keep my fingers crossed on that one. But yeah, it's developed certainly over the years. It was stock body, 100% stock interior. When I bought it, it just had an SR swap. I paid 10 grand for it back in 2009, which was like every penny I had and way too much money. But it was the car of my dreams. I had a couple, requirements. It had to be a kooky, an original, authentic kooky. It had to be a slick top, and it had to have an SR swap. And that's what I found. I found it on Craigslist. And I bought it. The guy I bought it from, actually, his wife was threatening to divorce him if he didn't sell it, basically, because he had been putting too much money into it. So I went and bought it from him. And it's been my baby ever since. I love this thing. It has been through many, many body kits, many different, iterations, a couple transmissions, a couple engines, lots and lots of axles and rear ends and other little things. But yeah, it's been a great car, and I love it. I mean, it's turned in from like the class or the quintessential, like, oh, you got a 240, everything that the drift event's a 240, and now it's kind of like a classic where there are many less 240s than other cars like Corvettes and Mustangs and Camaros, 350Zs, and yeah, like all sorts of other things. So it's kind of funny to see it come full circle from being like the most common to one of the more rare and kind of sought after, I guess you could say.
Okay. I have 100 things to ask, and I'm just going to spit them off, and you
right.
Just go quickly. We're going to do a walk around on the car in just a second, but let's get some talking out of the way.
Sure.
First of all, how many motors have been in the car total?
Six.
Plus the SR.
Yeah, the SR, and then I blew up 3 JZs in one weekend, and then 1 J, and now this 2J has been going for 10 years.
Okay.
So, total of 5.
6.
I guess 3 plus 1
plus a KA.
One.
7.
No, never a KA.
It had a KA before you had it.
Yeah, before.
So it's had at least 7 motors in this car. How many transmissions?
It went through 3 SR transmissions, and I'm on my 3rd R154.
How many tires?
Literally 1,000 at least.
What was the best engine setup, and is there something you wish you had instead?
This is the best engine setup, the 2J that it's had for a long time. I wish I had a little bit beefier transmission. It's just a lot more money. And for Drift Week, honestly, this is the best option.
It's an R154?
It's an R154. It's a JZX 110 R154 with a tripod shifter. It's all completely stock. I bought it brand new from Toyota for $3,500, and I did not regret that decision one bit. It's been great. It's been a trooper for a couple years now. It's gone through 4 Drift Weeks, went through hyperdrive, went through multiple seasons of Lone Star, and I just keep putting redline shockproof in it and just keep beating on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Many axles, probably like 10 differentials, and like lots of wheels and suspension parts and body kits and other broken things. But yeah, it's been good. Other than that, maybe like beefier axles. Eventually I'll go with like a 350Z rear end maybe, or 370 and like their axles and stuff. I'm not trying to do a quick change, so yeah, I think that's probably a good upgrade.
Show me around the car. Let's do this.
Okay.
Hyperdrive S14.
Yeah, same car. I can pop the hood for you.
Sure.
We just got back from Drift Week.
What is this hood?
This is a Cybon carbon hood. I don't know what model or whatever, but
Oh wait, I didn't. Let me add something real quickly. This car has had. I'm in the bright light probably. This car has had to have done at least 100 to 200 drift events at the minimum that I can think of. It's done more than 12 years of drifting. Oh, there's something going on in the background. Anyways, we'll keep shooting. It's done at least 100 to 200 drift events. It's done at least 1,000 tires. It's done at least 12 years of drifting. It's done the Netflix show. It's done 4 drift weeks now, which equates to at least 10,000. Let's wait for this guy. Wait.
there you go. I calculated it.
1 second.
Okay.
1 second. All right, go.
So I calculated it. It's done over 10,000 drift laps. It's done well over 10 or 20,000 miles on the street. Because when I bought it, it was my only car. It was my daily driver. I drove it to work every day.
It's done more than 10,000 miles just on drift week.
Yeah, exactly. Street miles, like with the 2J, over 10,000 miles. So over 10,000 drifting laps, though, is what blows my mind. I can't believe that it's done that many and it's still here today. So
It's a testament to, like, cars don't really get totaled out. People always say their car's totaled. You can keep a drift car going, especially it gets better every year, doesn't it?
It does. It's been improved every time. Every little thing I do and everything I learn and break, I will upgrade or update and make better. And even when I crashed it on hyperdrive, which was the worst crash I've ever had, it did bend the rear frame a little bit and the subframe, but I put it on a frame machine. Spent a couple weeks on there and got it straight. And now
Weeks?
Yeah, it took me 2 weeks because I did it myself.
Oh, okay.
I've never done it before, and like we were doing it after hours at a shop that was helping me out.
Okay.
And we got it back to straighter than stock.
Show me the car.
Okay. So under the hood, it's got
What was the hood?
a Cybon carbon hood.
Okay.
I don't know what model. I've got a Zona Rotor Turbo, a completely stock 2JZ. I've never opened it at all. Never had the head off or for a head gasket or anything
And
like
this
that.
thing has had to have done half the laps of the entire chassis, if not more.
Way more. Yeah, way more. In the beginning, I didn't drive nearly as much as I do now.
So this is probably one of the most reliable drift engines ever.
probably
Like
yeah.
this specific
This
one.
specific one, yeah.
Okay.
It's got, intercooler, injectors from Alpha Dynamics, and then like an ECU master tuned by Trackstar, and literally just drive it, change the oil, drive it, change the oil.
Now, what's the secret to the reliability? How much horsepower you're running? How much boost? Things like that.
So I've got a boost controller that I can mess with on the fly, and I run anywhere from 12 to 20 pounds of boost. It's been on pump gas for the past 3 years now. It's got, between 420 and 500 horsepower to the wheels. And I really run it like in the mid fours for most of the time. I only turn it up if it's either street racing on Drift Week or like big tracks like Texas Motor Speedway or something like that where I feel like I need a little more power. I think, that's a big part of it. I stand on limiter all the time. It's got a soft limiter, and just Ethan did a great job of tuning it to be reliable and put up with the abuse. And I think that's a big part of it. Good fuel, good oil. It was obviously a good motor.
Good fuel, 91 octane.
Well, I don't buy the cheapest fuel, and I used to run ethanol when I would always put like additives in it, like from Redline and stuff to try and keep it good. Good fuel injectors though. I never ran like 5.0s or any of the crap that explodes.
What are the good ones? IDs?
Yeah, so IDs are good. I had Siemens Deca for a long time, which is an OEM one, similar to Bosch. And these are an Alpha Injection Clinic, like a Bosch injector that's been modified, so similar to ID.
Something interesting, you kind of learned how to build tube frame stuff and everything with this. I didn't realize this was going to last like as long as it did. I remember you built this like 9 years ago? 7 or 9 years ago.
7 years
and you've
ago.
been running the same tube structure in the front this entire time. It's really just the back of the car that takes all the damage, just like our Ebisu cars, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, even the rear, I did the tube frame in the rear, but like behind its structure is a crumple zone, so to speak, a bash bar, and it's taken all the abuse. I've had probably 4 or 5 rear bash bars over the years, but that's fine. That's what they're for.
And is this cooling setup adequate? I know that a lot of JZ guys have a lot of problems with cooling.
Yeah, it's pretty good. This is a NASCAR radiator from like a circle track or a speedway. It's a dual pass, horizontal flow, 3-inch core. And this is like a fine arc swirl pot we built on Drift Week 1, which is nice. But there's nothing too crazy about it. This is a Charger fan that's a brushless OEM style fan. And like a simple intercooler core that I built with the guys at Fine Art.
How many laps can you get at, say, when we were at Willow Springs or Honda Musselman before you need to come in and cool down?
So Musselman, is a long lap. I probably can do 3 to 4 laps before it's getting up to, a little too hot. And then I just do 1 cool down lap and it's good to go again. Force Thief, I feel like I could do way more. It didn't get hot up there. I don't know why, but I was able to do more laps than the tires would last.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's cool.
What else is going on in here?
One thing about the cooling, you can see I stacked the cores really close.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something a lot of people don't do, and they don't realize that to cool, the air has to have velocity. So if the air hits the intercooler and then there's a big dead space in between and it just becomes stagnant, it doesn't go through the radiator very quickly. So if you stack your cores like that, the air will travel through them both very quickly, and that's efficiently cooling it versus having like a front mount with a big dead space in the middle.
Okay.
So I think that adds to it. And then when I was on E85, it would go even longer before it would get hot. So that was cool.
This is interesting. I like this filter location right there. It's
So that's a power steering filter.
Oh, that's not even your oil filter?
No. And I added that on Drift Week 3 when I was having all those problems.
Mm-hmm.
And I just haven't messed with it. It's still working, so I'm not going to mess with it. But
Okay.
it's kind of ugly, honestly.
Do you like your suspension setup? It looks like you have a GK Tech sway bar, and then it looks like, what are these arms?
Yeah, so I've got Seika coilovers, which I like a whole lot. They've been fantastic, and they helped me win the series this year. They've been on since Drift Week 3.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Voodoo curved tension arm, and everything else on the car is SPL. And then the knuckles are just a cut knuckle. And then the sway bar is the GK Tech blade sway bar.
Does everything rub up front or anything at full lock, or everything's pretty smooth?
Yeah, nothing rubs. I go full rack travel before anything touches, so
Okay.
it's good. I mean, if it was a little lower, things might rub on the back of the firewall here. That's the first part that's going to touch on my car, because I got tons of clearance up front from the tube structure.
Now, you're known for like destroying the body of this car and having to
Yeah.
put it up, like back together constantly. Do
Yeah.
you want to explain to me? Because like this, what is this bumper? A 2F?
Yeah, that's the 2F bumper.
And it looks
It's
like you've
seen better
repaired it a
days.
lot of times.
Yeah, just once.
Okay.
This happened at Clutch Kickers, and I fixed it at the track because I knew I had to get ready for Drift Week. But yeah, I mean, the Bodywork is, you know, a tool. It's going to get used and abused, and if you drive it like it's intended, you're gonna make mistakes and you're gonna hit stuff, or someone's gonna hit you or whatever, and that's just part of it. You know, I've done a pretty good job of mounting it in a way that I think is intelligent, like it's soft mounted.
What does that mean, soft mount? Can I see it from the back?
Yeah, just a zip tie right there.
Okay.
It's not ugly. You don't have those.
So just the
stupid-
fender holds all this together right here, and the thing sits on the splitter?
It's on a splitter.
Okay.
I've got one zip tie here in the middle that's attached to this metal rod. Even the headlights are soft mounted. They're mounted on a rod right here. It's just a 3/8 inch
show you guys.
piece of steel.
This little rod?
That's for the fender, and then the same style is set up for the bumper. I'm sorry, for the headlight.
Okay.
So it's
That looks
intended
kinda
to
messy.
be. Well, it's intended to be
works.
soft.
Okay.
So like if I rub somebody, it can take a small hit and not move, and move a little bit and not crack the fiberglass. And that's something
Definitely
I learned over
doesn't
the years.
crack the
Well,
fiberglass.
this I hit the guy really hard. You can insert that clip. I'll give it to you. It's
Well,
a good
you
one.
are kind of the master of keeping. What is this curly cube?
It's
crap.
ugly a little bit, but again, it just holds the front of the bumper and locates it. And there was a Zeus fastener there that I lost, so I just use a zip tie now.
Okay.
But
I mean,
yeah.
all this stuff clearly works. I'm just
Yeah.
making fun of you like I always
No,
do.
I know. That's fine.
It looks like your weld broke right there.
Yeah, it might have. That's fine.
Drift Week.
It doesn't even matter, really.
Drift
All
Week's-
it needs is this pin. You can see this is like taken from an RC car. Just a little pin set up to keep it from flying off. And it's cheap, it's effective, it works.
A
Super
pin on an
easy.
RC car?
Like this. Boom. Now you can take the fender off.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's super simple.
I like that idea.
Yeah, it works good.
Explain to this to me. Is that warm right now?
No.
How do you have motor mounts and yet this thing sits on there from the exhaust and doesn't break everything?
I have no idea. It just works.
Does it have solid motor mounts?
It does, yeah, solid motor mount.
But still, that's actually physically touching. That's not something that should work.
So it's funny is as this gets hot, it like tends to move a little bit like a spring, I guess, and it does clearance itself and goes up, and then the hood and everything, like it all just works. It kind of clearance.
But it
itself.
hasn't broken the wastegate off the manifold or anything?
No. I mean, that's a much stronger tube, the one that feeds the wastegate, than this is. This is a thin wall piece, where that's a pretty thick wall, Schedule 40. It's a nice manifold, so
Alright.
it's solid.
How do you route everything for cooling to make all this work? Do you have any
So,
secrets?
Yeah, I do have some extensive cooling mods. I take the factory oil coolers water and send it over straight to the turbo. So that's cold water coming right out the block that would go to the 2J's oil cooler.
Okay.
And then it tees off and sends part of it before it goes into the turbo. It goes and cools the wastegate, and that wastegate daisy chains and cools the other wastegate, and then that returns to my swirl tank right here.
Okay.
And then this continues on to cool the turbo with the water cooling here, and then that returns right here to the bottom of the swirl tank.
Okay.
So I've got water-cooled wastegates, water-cooled turbo, and it's all fed with cold water. Then it feeds right into the top of the radiator to immediately get cooled. Some people will send that right back into the block, sending like ridiculously hot water right into the engine, which is not good. So that's one thing that helps a lot. And then a lot of the heat blankets and stuff, like this is a blanket from PTP. That's a custom downpipe blanket from the same people that just help keep the heat, away from the other items. And then you can see I have everything wrapped. Every single thing is wrapped in the heat blanket to try and minimize that problem, because when we're on Drift Week, we're driving the thing for hours at a time, so I don't want anything to melt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep showing me stuff.
Okay.
What are the side skirts?
So the side skirts are KBD, and thank God for KBD building some S14 things.
What do they lack?
Irving, you still don't build a front bumper, so I'm
A kooky front bumper.
Yeah, kooky front bumper. You're crazy for not building one. We got to have that.
He literally just, by the way, tells us to go run other people's front bumpers.
Yeah, I mean,
you're like,
The 2F1 looks awesome, and I will continue to run it. I love it, and their parts fit perfect and everything, but I sure would like one that I don't ever have to break.
Yeah.
So like this is a KBD side skirt. I have a KBD rear bumper.
What is this?
That's just a little extension because I extended the car, you remember?
Yeah.
And so I didn't want it to look quite as ugly. So if you're that close, it doesn't look great. But when you back up a bit,
You don't even notice.
you don't notice. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so just
The rice
little-
is strong with you.
Little details.
The rice. Where I'm over here, I just cut all that out on my car, just like.
Yeah. I don't
You're
like
like,
that.
please stop
I
that,
do. Yeah, I wish you would.
Okay. KBD rear as well.
KBD rear bumper. This is where I hit the container. Hoonigan, whenever you were doing your interview.
Oh, and you bent all that in
Yeah, so-
temporarily.
yeah, I just need to hammer it back out. It'll be
And
good.
people say that, like the paint explodes. Did the paint explode? No,
I
it just
mean,
rubbed off.
Just rubbed a little bit here and there, but like I've hit tons of stuff with KBD. These
I know
skirts,
we've seen it.
they haven't been repainted ever. And like the only part I have is right here for when the car is squatting and this is folded under. This gets rubbed. So that's the only part that has missing paint. The rest of it is fine.
It's insane how strong these things are.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
great.
insert a bunch of clips of you smashing things right now.
Okay, cool. OEM Kooky Wing, D-Max Kooky Roof Wing, or just D-Max Roof Wing. This is my own little setup for the fuel cell. So fuel filler neck here. This was a water fill neck for the water system, the tire sprayers.
Do you not have tire sprayers anymore?
I don't right now. I need to re-engineer them, and I changed the fuel cell from the previous setup, so I have to re-change all that stuff.
Okay.
D-Max tail lights. I've got
The wheels I want,
yeah,
the
NK
PFO5s.
PFO5s. Normally I have Kinder tires on, but they've been impossible to find, so I've just been running scrubs that I pulled out of the trash from Drift Week for.
Can I show the scrubs?
No, don't show them. Don't
Okay,
show them.
don't show the scrubs.
They're Kinders.
Yes. Scrubs Gendis.
Yeah, the stock mirrors, because they look better than any other mirrors. I don't care what you say, you're wrong. These are the best looking mirrors on this car anyway.
Oh, explain to me real quickly the spring rates and stuff too.
Okay, sure. So the spring rates up front are 14K, and in the rear they're 6K.
Okay, 14 and 6.
Yeah, 14 and 6. And the Seika coilovers are all valved to be correct with that. It's a one-way adjustable. I didn't need anything super fancy. Just more knobs is more things to go wrong, honestly, if you don't know what you're doing. So I like that. And the higher spring rate up front is to help offset the weight of the JZ. And it also helps promote weight transfer to the rear, which will give you a little more grip, a little more forward drive. So that's been working out great so far. The car handles amazing, and I'm very comfortable.
Why do you run such a high front spring rate?
Well, I just told you, it's to help offset the weight of the JZ, and it's to help promote weight transfer to the rear.
But I mean, did you test it and it worked? And why not run higher if that works so well? Like, why do you run that exact 14 is what I'm saying. Sorry.
Honestly,
I need to articulate.
Yeah, I run that because that's what Chelsea told me to run.
Okay. So you just did it and then you just stopped at that point.
Well, I had some 10Ks, and so I put them on, and it felt a little better, and he was like, you need to run 14s. And I was like, well, I don't have any 14s. He's like, just get them. And so I did. I just got 14, put them on, and the car felt better. And I was like, okay, I'm just
I
going to
bet
leave
my
it there.
iron block car I probably have like 10s up front in mine.
I have 8.
Or
They
do I?
come 8 and 6.
Should I jump it up to 14?
Ask Chelsea. I don't know.
It's the same setup as yours almost.
I mean, I think a JZ probably still weighs more than your iron block, honestly.
I don't know. They're probably pretty close.
Well, I still have manifold, turbo, intercooler, all the
Yeah.
extra stuff.
Oh, and I have
front mount
radiator in the back and stuff. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I probably weigh a lot more up front than you. Although the weight distribution's not bad. It's 56 front, so could be worse.
All right. So we have you have swapped over to a bucket or a non-bucket seat or whatever, reclinable. Your passenger's just screwed over there in a bucket.
Yeah.
Now, does this impede your ability to drive well, or is it just as good as a bucket?
It's 10 times better because I can drive more comfortably.
On track, you mean?
On track. It holds me in fine.
Really?
This right here hurt me because I had to cut a slit in the bride just to get the seatbelt to go through. But honestly, when
Should I run one of these?
I love it. I really do. It doesn't pass tech or whatever, but no one's failed me
I was
yet,
about
so
to go to Kirky.
Do not do that. You're gonna hate life.
I felt really comfortable in one of the new fancy Kirkys.
Yeah, for 1 minute when you sat in it.
I don't know. I kind of like. Well, remember, mine's a track-only trailer at their car.
Yeah, that's true. For Drift Week, this was a must-have. Like,
Okay.
This absolutely changed the game for me. Because I had the same seat in the driver's seat for Drift Week 1, and it was miserable. I hated it. So this was a big upgrade for me, and much needed.
Cool.
So 350 millimeter Nardi wheel.
Is this dash uncracked?
Yeah, but it's got a damn hole in it that I cut.
Oh, you're an idiot.
Moron. Yeah, that was sad.
It's a thing in my videos. I'm always looking at like dashes. I'm like, what's the condition of this dash?
Yeah, no, the dash is nice otherwise. If I hadn't cut that hole, it would have been uncracked.
Oh, I never noticed. It's a non-sunroof car.
The slick top. That was what I required myself to buy.
Sometimes you say things and then like it takes me a minute for it to like really settle in.
Yeah.
That's rare, and you forget it's rare.
And you can see the bracing that you probably never see.
Yeah, that's why I saw
factory.
that and I was like, wait a second.
Yep.
Cool. Is there anything you'd like to change in here, or is this pretty dialed in now?
I'd like to have air conditioning.
That's not going to happen because of how much effort it is.
I know.
I'll just keep doing it in winter, or like in cool months.
Right.
So how about the carpet and stuff?
Love the carpet. It works great. I've got a blinker and horn setup now, which is pretty good. The gauges and stuff are okay. I would probably like to change and have that a little bit updated, or maybe like just properly working if I spent a bunch of time or money on.
What do you mean?
Getting it programmed to like, because right now I don't have it functioning where I can go through the different pages. I know that dash is a lot more capable than what I have it currently doing. So.
Oh, so you mean just updated as in like updating all the stuff inside of it?
Yeah, like getting it properly programmed to have multiple pages with multiple data and like all that stuff. I also have an issue right now where the Bluetooth doesn't communicate with the tablet and the dash at the same time.
Now, why do you need a dash and a tablet?
You don't, but I think it's cooler to have the display there, and also like I would love to have normal parameters going on the right side, and then like just my vitals in the middle.
Okay.
And also just more rice.
Cool.
So
makes sense.
That's good.
Is the radio any good?
Can't hear it at all.
Can't hear it, so it's useless.
Pointless, yeah. So I just wear noise canceling headphones now.
Okay. Can you listen to music and stuff on them?
Oh yeah, you can do that.
It works?
It works, yeah. The headphones work great.
What do those switches do?
That's the thing, is they don't do anything. Normally they would program, or they would be able to switch through my dash display, but I haven't been able to get them to work, and I'm not smart enough.
Oh. All right.
So yeah, that's that. Got power windows still. Factory door panel here that's cut out for the cage, which is nice. And then the other side, I have a LRB panel that I wrapped in suede for this trip.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it turned out really nice. So I like that. It's a little dusty now, but yeah, good. Stops a lot of the rattle, which was nice.
By wrapping it in suede?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because before it was metal to metal right here on the door.
Yeah, we went and put 3M tape on everything on mine.
That's
What's funny, by the way, is most people think we're installing race car parts by like doing all this or like deleting things or whatever. We're like, no, we just can't find the dang panels.
Right, that's true. They're expensive. And
everything's getting rare.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, still has a glove box.
Oh, I like this. I was wondering what was going on, and I realized you used to have like NASCAR fancy bars that came out, and you had to cut them out.
Yeah, I did. Because they wouldn't let me have power windows, so I had to cut those out to put windows.
I just had to do that to the Ebisu car that I'm going to ship over, the V8 Tyler Cox mobile.
Yep.
All right, very cool.
I've got some of the Drift Week challenges, and then it's my AccuSump, which I highly recommend for everyone. Oh, you know what? Speaking of the engine things, I really honestly believe that is why my car and the engine still runs perfectly, because every single startup I pre-oil it, and what I do as well is put it in neutral, clutch out, so that I don't wear the thrust washers whenever I start the car. It's little things like that people don't realize or don't think about that I think do make a big difference, and AccuSump is huge. I mean, that has absolutely saved this engine multiple times when I had a failure, oil leak, oil line pop off, whatever, and that kept the engine, fed until I was able to get back to the pits and figure out what the hell's going on.
Okay.
So That's a big one for sure.
I kind of doubt you on that, but that's okay.
Well-
you've got the JZ that's running forever.
Yeah, I know, right?
I have the stock one in Japan that
Yeah.
runs forever, but it's not so modified.
It's true, and it runs. I mean, you drive it a lot less too.
That car has 9,000 kilometers just at Ebisu.
Yeah, that's a lot, but that's not like.
Street miles don't care to street cars,
That's
though.
true. I know that, but still, like I know that you do 100 laps a day at Ebisu, but you've only owned that car for what, 4 trips, 5 trips,
7 years.
No, but how many trips have you done?
The first year I did 2 trips, and then I went down to 1. I think we've been doing it for 6 years, so I think I'm at 8 trips. Oh, except we haven't gone the last
2
couple
years. Yeah.
years. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Even still.
I'm gonna just live over there for a while.
Yeah.
My wife and I were talking about her getting a teaching job over there and us moving
really?
over there for a while.
That'd be
And I
sick.
just spend, back and forth time here doing all my stuff.
That'd be sick. honestly.
So the baby can like grow up and do Japanese
Speak
stuff.
Japanese. Yeah.
Not just because I'm a weeb, but because it's probably the only place outside the United States I really want to live.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Or Ebisu's beautiful and like
Yeah.
the people are awesome.
Well, I wouldn't
It's
live
awesome.
at Ebisu, but I'd probably live in Tokyo.
I would.
Yeah. All right, what else? Anything else to talk about?
The brakes are really good. I like them a lot. These are the Seika dual caliper setup where it's one caliper, but it's got 4 pistons. The top 2 pistons operate the foot brake. The bottom 2 operate the handbrake.
Oh, so it's like a dual setup with
Yeah.
separate lines and everything. That's
Exactly.
baller.
It's really
How much is
pretty
that setup?
sick. It's about $1,800 for the rears, and that's all in, including lines, everything shipped to your door. You can pick whatever color you want and stuff. What's nice about it though is you don't have any more axle spacing issues. You don't have any more like hardware that's going to come loose with the brackets. You don't have any kind of spacer with the wheel and the tire package in the fender. Lots of little things like that that are annoying with the adapter brackets, and it also weighs less than 2 Z32 calipers with a rotor.
Okay.
So
How much for all 4 corners of their brake kit then?
So it'd just be 3,600, 1,800 times 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Cool.
that's for this size. and
Drifters are
everything.
so cheap.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here like
I know that it's not like let's do it
It's
right
super
now.
baller, though.
But it is really nice. They feel amazing, and they're dual purpose, so I can go do a track day and not
it takes me
worry about
back to the early days of like D1 GP stuff where they look like they're Project Moo calipers and everybody used to go out and spend big money on brake kits
Yeah.
on drift cars,
remember
and
that,
like
yeah.
all the early cars had that stuff, and
Yeah.
now they're just like, we have Willwood drag
Right.
racing brakes and they don't exist.
Yep. And they're like rotors this thin because they
Yeah.
don't care.
Yep.
This is a nice dual purpose.
Oh no, this car's awesome.
Like
Okay.
when we road raced at Grand Sport, I loved having these because I was able to blast past everyone and outbrake them, and then they couldn't catch me, and it was fine.
Yep.
It's great.
So if someone wants a car and say they're getting into drifting, how do they have something as reliable and long-term and everything else as you? What would you tell someone to get into? Should they buy a car like this? Because you've had incredible reliability for like the last 9 or 10 years.
Yeah.
Versus like how much, when we say reliability, it's not turn in and just jump in and turn the key and drive.
Right.
There's still a lot of maintenance.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely do a lot of maintenance on this thing. I would not recommend this car for anyone. It costs too much. It takes too much effort. Everything is too specialized for the normal person that hasn't been doing this for a decade like me. It's a pain in the butt to deal with fiberglass and fitment issues and chrome livery and stuff like that. A 350Z is boring, but it will teach you a lot, and you can like jump right in and go driving right now. You don't have to know a lot about cars, and if something breaks, there will be someone else who really probably can tell you to fix it or tell you what to fix over the phone. Whereas this, like, if I have an issue with a fender, fitting against the side skirt, like only I know because I built that bracket for it. Everyone else would look at it and be like, it's broken, just take it off, So stupid little stuff like that, I think. But if you want to try and be iconic or whatever phrase you want to say, like getting a car like this is really cool. It's way cooler than a Z, and depending on what you're going for, if you're a clout chaser or
How much
something.
money, if you included like labor
that
in this
question.
thing, would this car cost total
Yeah.
versus the 350Z inside that's red and looks just like this?
Yeah. This car you could probably build in today's market for like 80 grand. And that's it. With labor, depending on your labor rate, 80 to 100 if you're paying a shop. The Z in there, you can buy a Z for 5 to 10K. Suspension and stuff is about another 6 to 8K.
How much did that specific Z in there cost you?
So I bought that Z for $2,000.
Okay.
This was pre-COVID pricing.
The red one, right?
The red one, yeah. I did a KBD body kit, cheap $500 paint job. SPL Parts sponsored me, but it's got their full catalog, which is about $6,500. And then I put coilovers and a handbrake from Chase Bays. So I'm in that car probably about 11 or so. 10.
Okay.
But me
I'll go
personally
show it
is
in a
less
second.
than that, even because of the sponsored stuff. So, yeah, you can buy a Z that's done for $15K. In fact, I'm about to sell one. Like, it's done. It's got brakes, coilovers, ready to go, angle, all the suspension, the interior's done, handbrake, whatever, and you can just go drive it. You don't have to mess with anything. So that right there is what I would say is, like, if you just want a turnkey car that's good, just buy someone else's that you know is a proven chassis and ready to go and reliable. Just enjoy it.
Okay. Thank you so much for showing us about this car.
Yeah.
Congratulations on, I think, having the longest lasting historical car, which is also not just a piece of junk that's like sitting in a field, like where is
Yeah.
it now type car,
Right.
but it's still relevant in not only Texas drifting, but like national drifting. I think this is one of the most iconic S14s in America now. I'm sure there's kids in Japan that, like, I wouldn't say have posters on the wall, but maybe
Right.
they have their wallpaper on their phones is this car.
Right. There you go.
And congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah.
This window banner this year didn't match with this car, but in previous
Yeah.
years it matched better.
No, I was
It's
bummed
funny.
when you went away from the red, white, and blue because it was so perfect.
Some of the retro looking like 1980s Radwood type
Yeah.
drift week cars, it looked perfect
Oh,
on.
it did. Yeah, a white car too looked really good with that. So
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go show his 350Z as I leave this. Oh, and before we get off here, I wanna say thank you to Y-Plate Imports. Hit up Trenton over at Y-Plate if you need a Japanese car. Thank you so much for supporting the Drift Week content. And again, Trenton imports JZX 100s mostly right now. He stores them over in Japan and all that stuff. Hit him up before these cars are too expensive. Thank you to BC Racing Coilover. You cut the thing. Anyways.
it just didn't fit.
Yes, it did. You have space over there. Thank you to BC Racing Coilovers, the most supportive coilover company in all of grassroots racing for drifting. See, look at this, all the space. He absolutely had the space. ECU Master. Thank you to Zach over at ECU Master. Zach drives in our series and at our events and does Drift Week with us. ECU Master is awesome. They support our drivers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And thank you to NK Wheels. NK Wheels has been supporting drifting and the Japanese content forever, and what monsters do. Ebisu is a discount code for 20% off of their website. Head over there for all kinds of cool merch. And lastly, thank you to Drift HQ for supporting Drift Week by bringing out the trailer and supporting all the drivers with parts sales. It would be miserable if we had to do Drift Week without Drift HQ. So thank you so much, Drift HQ, for being a part of Drift Week. That is all, guys. Oh, wait, I promised to show.
Let me give a shout out too. I want to thank Core Culture. They're a huge part of my program.
wait.
now. And
Who is it?
Core Culture, they make a nootropic supplement, and I just want to say thank you to them for all the support, as well as, of course, everyone else on the car that we talked about already.
All right, let's go look at this 350Z collection he has. He's trying to sell this one for a bunch of money. It has racing seats, it has a transmission shifter, and it has giant wide body. Yeah. And oh, look at how clever he was with that. And here's the red one. It's got a KBD kit. It is a kind of a cool carbon copy of a 350Z version of his other car, but in like Texas street legal fashion. He is Are you selling this thing?
No, I want to keep this one.
You're selling this one?
Yeah, I'm going to sell this one.
Do you have a buyer?
I don't yet, so it's for sale.
Hit up Fielding Shredder at Shredder Racing. Is it Shredder Racing on Instagram?
Yep.
Hit up Shredder Racing if you need a 350Z.
Yeah.
I've driven this. It's an HR car. Works pretty well.
Yeah, it's great. Easy, reliable.
Yep.
I got second place at America's Union just a couple weeks ago. So.
I don't know what that is.
It's that event that was supposed to send me to Argentina.
Oh, how'd it go?
I got second.
Oh.
I hit the guy in front of me for first. I was totally going to win it. Was my
Well,
fault.
congratulations.
Yeah, it was my fault.
Boom. We done. We out.